Hello guys, welcome to this lesson. We continue with Spanish. So this is of course the most principal way for white to play against d5 knight c6. So let me show you what I'll show you against bishop b5 for black. Of course black has many options and Berlin, Marshall, okay, many different. But what I want to show here is a little bit in this course, a little bit rare. Nowadays it's quite popular, but compared to the others, of course, still rare. And it's a bit unusual, but it's interesting line. White needs to know what. And if black knows, I think black is also doing okay. So the positions are a bit complex, but let me show you what I prepared. So it's the move knight e7 here. Another interesting line, by the way, is to start with a6 knight e7. There are a little bit of differences, but I quite prefer knight e7 immediately. I'll try to explain what is the difference, but knight e7 seems to be interesting line and quite popular nowadays. So after knight e7, white has basically four moves. All of them are possible and interesting. d4 looks critical, c3 of course main, push d4, castle of course, or knight c3. All of them are very interesting. So we'll start with some move like c3. Let's say the idea is to play d4 as soon as possible. Actually, with a6 included in 97, the c3 is quite popular line. Then normally black goes g6 and d4. Here again, we can go g6 or a6 to transpose to this bishop a4 line. But here after c3, I think I like because with the bishop on b5 already this is possible. With a6 included bishop a4, this is not so possible. It's a little bit different there. Now in some lines the bishop is hanging, so d5 it's here very nice, and I think in my opinion important line. It's not very popular compared to a6 or g6, but d5 in my opinion is the best here. So now white must take the challenge. He needs to take this pawn. Otherwise, after we take, we just take with the queen attacking the bishop. So he must take. We take. So this is the critical position, queen e2, immediately attacking the pawn, the most logical. Knight c6 looks a little bit strange. You can take both ways. You can take like this, looks okay. But I think the easiest way is to take with knight and just to develop. And now the point is if he starts to attack this pawn, he must do that. We go castle, rook e4, and queen g5, attacking the bishop, threatening bishop f5 or bishop h3. For example, this looks very promising. And here also looks very promising. Here it's some kind of martial type of positions, but very interesting. Of course, I think bishop b1 was not possible because white takes and bishop d3, attacking on h7. But we go rook e8, we have a lot of activity. Now bishop b1 is possible. And this rook on h4 is a bit awkward. Definitely black has good compensation. So this knight takes e6 is a bit not very accurate, not very ambitious. I think queen e2 is more principled to attack immediately on e4. So now what to do? Now I think it's important to go bishop e6, very important move. The idea is after queen e4 to have bishop d5. So let's say if he takes, this is the idea, attacking the pawn, queen e2. Trying to protect the pawn, it's a little bit, strange, but it's possible now. The point is we go h5, we keep attacking the queen, very difficult to escape, and I think this is probably leads to some repetition. And after bishop d5, queen e2 is still critical. After take to go rook g1. Now after bishop d5, d4, f6, the position is extremely complex. But I think after rook g1 we can also add this a6, very nice idea. So now the point is if he takes and takes, we have rook a5. Black is doing good. And if he plays bishop a4, we go back, and now the idea is to go b5. With still complex position, but white's king is also in the center, black king also, but okay, we maybe will castle. I think black should have decent position here. It's still complex, but black is doing okay. Also, this pawn is maybe hanging. So this is the idea of bishop e6, queen e4 at least. I mean, it looks not so great after bishop d5. It's unclear, but black should be okay. If he goes d4, I think we can just develop now. And yeah, castle. Black has zero problems. So the only critical way probably is to take and play bishop a6. So now we have a lot of weaknesses we must develop. the idea is to prepare knight g6 and bishop b7 is not so strong, so that's why we played queen d7. Once again, this is in black's favor, hitting the g2 pawn. So castle, and now we go knight g6 again, very important. All these moves are the best, maybe not only, but the best ones. So we're giving the pawn, but we'll have a lot of compensation. He must take it. This is the most principle. D3 looks too soft. It's possible, but we just take maybe here. And we have some weakness, but it's too little. We'll castle, our piece are active. Black should be fine. So the principal way is, of course, to take the pawn. Now we go bishop b7. And basically, black simply wants to castle bishop on d5, maybe some knight jumps. It looks very, very promising for black. d4, if he goes for endgame, I think it's possible. But now with this pawn structure, I think it shouldn't be a big problem for black. We just try to develop and to take the pawn back. I think it's about equal. And the most logical is d4, but then castle here or knight a3 doesn't change much. And I think black has fantastic compensation. Some queen here, some knight jumps. It looks promising for black. So yeah, so this is about this c3 line. I think d5 is quite important. And yeah, after all these complications, this queen d7, knight g6, it looks good for black. So this is one of the differences between a6 and knight e7 immediately. So now instead of c3, let's see the move short castle. I think, of course, this is one of the main moves. So now black has two ways to play with g6 or knight g6. Or sometimes they go d6, but I don't like this position, too passive. It's like Steinitz, but a little bit worse version. So what I like here for black is to place the knight on g6 is the most logical and trying to develop. So now d4 is the critical line. There are other options. c3 also possible, of course, or some other rare options. Let's say c3 is logical to play d4. Now, I think the main theory is going like this, here in d6. It's a little bit passive, the bishop is good. Maybe he will develop like this. A little bit better for white, not a big deal, but a little bit better. But after c3, I like to keep it more complicated and again to play d5. It's a bit worse version than the previous one, but without castle, but it's still very interesting and very uh, unknown line. It's not very popular. There are only some games, but not so many as a6. So d5 is quite interesting. I think white must go for queen a4 now. For example, d4 play in the center. After all these exchanges, black is equalizing. E5 also doesn't make sense because we are attacking the bishop, maybe bishop here. Black is doing great. Queen e2 also looks a bit strange, we just developed. So queen a4, putting some pressure, this is the only way we take. There's no other way. Bishop c6, of course taking a pawn. d4 is possible, another option. Here now we need to protect it, d4 and bishop e7. Giving this one, but we don't have really a choice. Takes, if d5, I think this is great, knight b8. At some point we want to play 5, if he takes, we take, and I mean the structure is not so bad, some f5, some knight here. So probably he needs to take the pawn, we go castle important, bishop c4, this is similar. So here the idea is he wants to push e6, so we go queen c8 important. So now we have still very good compensation for the pawn. If he plays like this, then we simply develop. Eventually we'll start attacking this pawn on e5. So I think the only way for white to play is rook e1. Rook e8, I think this is similar, but okay, rook e8 looks good. e6, take, 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 take. So now takes is not great because bishop c5, and this is actually very good for white, for black. Rook e2, rook e1. If king f1, maybe knight, and then the knight to d3. Black has fantastic compensation because white still didn't develop all of his pieces. So probably here he can keep going to play like this, just to play this endgame. It looks a little bit better for white thanks to this weakness, but it's too little. It's only one weakness, and it seems that black has enough counterplay on these white squares. Should be about equal. So this is solid line for white, but not really giving advantage. So if he wants to play for advantage, he needs to take this pawn. But now we'll have a pair of bishops. We go f5 now, very good pawns also. Queen e2. This is a bit weird to give this 10 piece. I mean, looks good for black. So let's say queen e2, now queen f6. After bishop d6, maybe white can take and then d4, so I think this is the best. So this position is very critical, but once again, it's very new position. Almost nobody knows this, and I think it's very interesting and promising. White also needs to play very accurate here. For example, if he takes now there, after these simplifications, black is fine. Castle. We're 2 pawns down, but he still didn't develop. And now we're trying to use the e file. Only move here, otherwise where to play if rook f1, bishop b5. Here, this leads to some forced draw, I think rook e4. Fantastic move, trying to bring, some activity here. If he goes f3, we go rook e6, rook g6. If he go h3, f4, I mean, we have fantastic compensation. Knight e3 doesn't work because we can take maybe bishop e4. I think black has no problems. So this is the point of knight e5, which just black is doing very good. If d4 also, d4, e4, I mean, still pawn down, but fantastic pawns, good compensation, good bishops, open files. I mean, black can even play for advantage in these positions. So after queen f6, the critical is rook e1, castle, and d3. d4 once again e4, and it's very complex. I mean, this setup, this pawns, the structure is already good. The only critical line maybe is bishop g5, but this is good. Queen c6 preventing the mate. And I think the two pieces are not worse than the rook here. It's very complex position. Another option is knight e5, but this also leads to some equality. Here provoking g3, now bishop e7. Here bishop d4. This looks to some equal position, but still very complex, of course. I think the main move is d3, trying to prevent the c4. So now I think we have two options to play here. Already it's obvious black has good compensation, but still very complex position. So one way is to sacrifice an exchange by bishop c6. Take, take, and here. Even we don't have a pawn for the exchange, but we have very nice pawns and bishops. If bishop e3, f4, gaining a lot of space. If here, e4. Sorry, if rook d1, e4. According to engines, black has good compensation thanks to the bishops, the pawns, but it's still very strange position because we don't have even a pawn for that compensation. But definitely black has some counterplay. So this is one interesting option, but I like a little bit more rook e8. Just to not give anything else, we have pawn down, but one pawn is not so big deal. Bishop g5, the critical. If he plays passive, then black is just doing great. Yeah, this is only black can be better now. Some rook g6, rook h6. If he goes b4 or something, I think e4 again. Okay, this is possible, but unclear. Better queen a6. Pinning, take. This is very interesting line, f4. Now keeping the bishop out of the game. g3 here. It's very weird position, but black seems to be okay. Trying to play h3, 6. Now it becomes very tactical. Rook e8. Still this pin is unpleasant. I think black managed to equalize here. It's still pawn down, but the rook is very active. If rook e3, then difficult to win. Maybe a5 or c5, a5 probably. And if he tries for this, yeah, something like this, black is too active and we have a very good chance to make a draw. I think it's just probably a draw. So this is one line, but before it's already difficult move, I think. Bishop g5 is similar here. I mean, this is again kind of, yeah, we're winning some piece now. If bishop h4, knight f4. According to engines, maybe this is not so clear, it's unclear, but okay, black is not worse. So the best line is a4, but this is also very difficult. White really needs to know this. Here, take, rook e8. Still very decent compensation. If b4, bishop b7, h4, bishop e8. I mean, black is doing very good. I mean, it's good compensation, complex, but double edge position. So this about the c3, d5, I think it's really interesting. It's quite new and very promising line for black, I think. Very double edge. So instead of c3, another move, it's knight c3, but this is very harmless. I think we simply develop. This is completely nothing. Maybe d6, eventually a5. Being black is very solid. Also, bishop c4 is not so bad. I mean, we can go here, but we can also go bishop c5, h6. I don't like this because king h1 and some d4 maybe, but h6 looks good, preventing these bishop g5 ideas. And now black is quite solid, I think. We want to play d6 and short castle. For example, this doesn't look like great. d6 we just take, and then bishop c7 maybe. This is also okay. a4 it's possible. We go a6 now, d5. I think this is possible line, but black is doing good. If queen d6, bishop b8, and then maybe d5 or d6. And if bishop e3, this is also weird position, d5. Okay, this is good for black. This is also quite okay. If here b5, yeah, this also d6. We can give the pawn, but now bishop g4, and we have a lot of counterplay. Maybe here, maybe rook d8. So this is not a big deal. So now we're moving to the main move after castle knight g6, which is the move d4. Now we take knight d4. There are probably other options. Playing like this gambit, I think, is not enough. Black should be okay. Another option is bishop c4, also a weird move, but we just go like this and even giving now the pawn. I mean, black has no problems. So the critical is knight d4, of course. We go bishop c5. This is similar to some kind of Scotch defense, but still, I think black is doing good with this bishop. Still very playable position for both sides. Knight b3 is the main move. There are other options. For example, yeah, this or knight bishop e3. Let's say bishop e3. I think bishop e3 is the most logical, but black has very nice idea here. We take everything in queen g5, hitting the bishop and trying to play knight e4. Now this is the critical, and knight e4 important, a6 very important as well. So now white must go bishop c4 to keep an eye on this knight e2, b5. Now white has a couple of options, but none of them is giving advantage. For example, this endgame is just very good. It's pawn down, but okay, rook e8 or this rook attacking this pawn. Black is doing good with this bishop. Queen a4 was played in the game Wahno Salimova played in Toronto in the candidates, women candidates 2024. The game continued like this. And now black played differently, but after a5 it's very equal. We just want to keep the pawn. And if knight c4, then we go to this rook endgame, rook b8. Eventually the king will be active or f6. I mean, white has a lot of weaknesses. It's very difficult to imagine white can win here. And probably the critical line is queen e4, attacking the rook, and now h4. But after queen g6, take, black is still fine. a6, some critical line, castle. Bishop b7, now the bishop is very good. This is okay. And this is also, I think, black already has a lot of counterplay. Eventually we'll take this pawn, but simply with all this bishop and queen, it's very complicated position. Black has enough counterplay. So this is the idea of bishop e3. We just want to take and queen g5. This is very important idea. If knight f5, playable. Here, bishop e3. Also normal knight c3. We just go d6. But this is already playable. I think black is having decent chances. So many moves again. Let's say, yeah, bishop e3 or something. a6. I think it's important to add this move. For example, if he takes there, we take there. If bishop e2, we just develop. We're not afraid of this structure. I think it's a good one for black. Maybe some jumps. Bishop c6. If bishop a4, I think knight e7, now exchanging some pieces. If here we take there, and this is still quite equal. I mean, black is very solid. Another option here is king h1, but doesn't bring anything. We just exchange. If not, we push a5. So let's say knight a4, trying to take the bishop. Now we go here. If he takes, black is okay. This is equal. If c3 also we take, rook e8. It's quite solid. I mean, yeah, this is okay. This also looks pretty equal. Two bishops, but we have some jumps. And yeah, this looks like very fine. Now creating some counterplay. Maybe h5 next move, some rook e2. Black is doing great. Yeah, so this knight c3 d6. Bishop e3 immediately is maybe better, but now we go like this. I think it's a little bit more pleasant for white, but black is very solid. For example, yeah, going back knight a4 or here knight a4, we will take the bishop d6. Looks extremely solid for black. This is critical, but now you take the bishop anyway. If bishop d5, c6. If here, okay, he can take with this pawn, it's similar, or this pawn. It looks like white is a bit better, but on the other hand, black is extremely solid here. And we just want to, develop. If knight f5 already, I think we can take. Okay, this is just completely fine. And this is also very close to be completely equal. We just want to exchange more pieces. So this is a little bit, uh, passive for black, but on the other hand, black is very solid and probably equalizing. So another option is c3. This is not so great. I think it's like Scotch. Black is doing good. Maybe here next move. Or a6, then d6. So probably the critical is knight b3, bishop b6. This is quite critical line. So now white goes knight c3. I mean, there are other options. This d6 doesn't change. a4, a6 also. So let's say here castle, knight d5. I mean, this is also okay for black. So let's say 95, we go 97. I think 97 is important. If we play passive, then a4, this is the point. And he wants to play 5, now a6 is not good because knight b6. So this is not good, rook e8, bishop d3. So I think the best is to try to exchange some pieces. Knight b6, the most logical, this doesn't change. Take, if rook e1, d5, this is already completely equal. And f4 is the only critical line, d5, f5. This is dubious, we control the squares and black is doing great. So after d5, he must go f5, knight d5, and this is the critical, bishop f4, f6, so he must go for this. And this is very direct line and I think very forced you here. Now white has some options, but already is very double-edged position. If he takes immediately, we take like this, knight here. This is unclear. If takes knight f6, this also looks good with these pawns. I think it's very, knights are also very active. So the critical line probably is bishop h6. We don't have time for rook e8, it's also hanging, so we need to take, to give the exchange. I think queen e1 a little bit more dangerous for black. If bishop f8, this position also possible. So now he needs to take this pawn, otherwise he will play f5, he will have two pawns and very good position. So he needs to take there and c6. It's very forced, it's just black is okay, but it's very forced. Bishop e2, if queen h5, this is good. Now we start attacking, and this rook, this queen are a little bit in danger. Black has one pawn for the exchange, very active pieces. So maybe the critical is here, but then knight d5, this already looks good. Already some jumps and very good activity. And probably white must give up the exchange, but then, yeah, here, and black is not worse. So that's why I think a little bit more critical is queen e1. Now we go here, take, and queen e4. Okay, queen c3, queen e7, we keep the pawns. He must take knight d6. It's very concrete. If we don't have knight d6, we are just lost. But knight d6, hitting everything, queen b4. There's no way to protect this bishop now. This is the problem. If queen e2, then bishop g4. And also b5 is hanging. If queen f4, I think this again. And then we take on b5. If queen h4, now we can take. And this leads to equality. f6. Black is just on time to equalize. I think it's quite solid position. Another option is queen b4. Now here again. Here. But this looks like equal because a2 is hanging. We're pawn up, of course, many weaknesses, but we're still pawn up. So yeah, this line is very critical. I think this knight c3, knight d5, but black is doing good. It's just very complex. So this is about this castle and d4. This is one of the critical lines. I think it's quite critical, but it seems that black is close to equalize. Another option is knight c3, actually a very principal way to play. Also, in this situation, white also has this knight c3. So here after knight c3, again I like to play with knight g6. Other moves are just very passive. Already after a6, maybe he can bring the bishop here. So that's why I think knight g6. And again, white has some critical options. d4 is very critical, or h4. h4 is very, very sharp. Another options like bishop c4 possible, but or d3. D3 I don't think is critical because we just go like this. Here we take the bishop, and here black is doing very good already. Important trying to take the bishop and insisting on b5. Black is doing great. So yeah, d3 is not critical. Bishop c4 looks a bit strange. We just develop. Still possible, but doesn't seem so great for white. Okay, this is very solid. Yeah, this also looks quite okay. So maybe he must go here, but now we can play h6, very important. 95. Okay, this is good, 97. And then maybe we can play simply d6, and black is doing good. D3 also, d6 doesn't change. So 95, we go here, this is still the same. C3, we go like this. It's okay. I think black is doing great already. D3, maybe we can keep the bishop. In this position is very double edged. If queen b3 castle, if d3, I mean here, it's sharp position, but black has his chances, some counterplay will come, some b5 or so on. So I think it's very double edged position. White also is not clear where the king will go. So it's very double-edged position simply. So instead of bishop c4, I think this h4 is kind of interesting. This is extremely sharp line, very complicated. d4 is more logical, a bit more solid for white. But let's see h4. Now we go here, important. This is one of the differences compared to a6 or no a6. Now the point is we're attacking the bishop. Here, another interesting line is h5, knight f4. Yeah, this is just completely concrete. So many options, 94 critical. If g3, I think this is okay. Black protects everything. Attacking the knight. d3 possible, but we go for this. This is very important. And d5. Black is doing good. Now some complications, but yeah. Seems that black is doing good. It's more or less everything equal now, but okay, not exactly. These pawns are weird. But yeah, the king is very weak. It's just very crazy position, but it seems that black objectively is okay. So d3 is one possible line. 95 also, I think we take, go back, and black should be okay. Very solid, queen d7 next move. So I think the most critical is now this line here and queen f3. If queen g4, g5 is very good. And now black is suddenly doing great. I mean, very complex. Some bishop g4. So the best is probably queen f3, attacking the knight, and now this important, knight e2. Also possible line, but black has no problems. Going for the end game, and I think the end game is pretty equal. King e7, bishop to e6. So after bishop e6, knight e2 is critical, take. It seems that the structure is a bit better for white, but actually it's not easy. We go h6, important to prevent this. And now a5, very nice to gain space and also to bring the rook. a5, very important. If queen g4, this is good. Black is doing great now. He cannot take because d6 maybe. And yeah, this is queen g4. If he goes a3, we go like this again. So e5, d6, so he must go like this, d6, or castle, first castle. So again, it's very complex position, but I think black has counterplay. For example, if queen f2, d5 already, giving the pawn, but opening the position and the king. f5 also very double edge. I mean, I think it's okay. Very good compensation. If bishop d2, we have this counterplay. It's just very sharp, but okay, black has definitely some counterplay. Yeah, so this line is possible, I think, this h5, but black seems to be more or less fine. So now let's see the other main line, bishop c4, and now h5 important, knight g5, and this is a big mess. d3 is the solid way, but after c6, d5, black is fine. Definitely black is doing good here, take, this is worse. And this also will just recuperate the pawn probably, and black is playing for advantage. So the critical line is knight here. Now very important d5. This is losing, and black is just crashing here or there. So I think white must go knight d5 and d3. This is very critical line. Bishop g4, f3. There another option. This is also very interesting. I mean, it's kind of extremely crazy position. This knight is still hanging. And now black goes b5, the main move, trying to take this bishop. Couple of options now. Bishop b3 is knight f4. I mean, black is holding. King g2 also should be okay. Bishop b5 leads to some transposition. So let's say knight h7 is the main move. This is very important. Take bishop b5. This is the critical line. Yeah, this is okay, I think. And knight c7, king d7 is also good. So let's say bishop b5, a4. This is the critical. I think black is not worse. I mean, it's complex position, but this knight is out and have some ideas. It's still double edge position. So queen g4 was interesting, but not giving the advantage. So let's say f3. Now we go like this, important. I mean, all this is very concrete, but okay, what to do? Okay, so now some options. For example, this looks like transposition. Bishop f4 also, we take back, at f7. If here we take there, f3. We'll rook down, but king is very weak. This knight, it will be lost. It's still very double edge position. So another option is, this was fg. Another option is knight f7. Now we take, very concrete line now. Keeping the knight. And now, okay, after these consequences, black is doing good. We will take this pawn. These three passers are just unstoppable. It's very double edge position again. So let's say he takes with the knight. Takes, okay, this is also okay. This is the critical line. Okay, h7, take bishop here. This is okay. White is pawn down now, bishop b3, b5. Still very complex. This is very, very forced here. Take king g8 even important. And now this and rook e8, and it seems that black is fine. But this line, yeah, this line is very critical. We really need to know all this. But it's more or less forced. So h4 is very interesting, but yeah, black is fine. But just we both sides needs to know what. So let's see the critical one of the other critical lines, d4, very solid. Take, and now I think the best is to go already for c6. A bit weird, but this is the very important line. Bishop b2. Okay, this is met by b5. This endgame is decent. And bishop d3 also, I think this endgame is quite okay. It's a little bit unusual, but we will maybe take or play knight e6. Black has decent chances. Bishop d3 also, now queen b6 important. This is again good. And queen e3, this is a bit worse maybe, but we'll go bishop d6. And now black equalizes. Simple. And this is still unclear, but black is good. And after cd3, we just develop, and yeah, it should be very equal. Probably it's just draw. So I think here he must go bishop b2. This is the best way to play for advantage. Queen b6 and queen d3. I think this is one of the best lines for white in the whole 97 line. For example, yeah, this is possible. We have choice. We can go for the end game. A bit worse, but possible, defendable. But I really like after bishop b3 just to take the pawn. It's very complicated, but black is doing good. Here, rook b1. This is okay. This is important, queen d6. Now white has a lot of compensation, but very unclear. Black has his chances, rook e8. Knight c4, this is more or less okay. Looks like drawish. If he takes, it's draw. Yeah, sorry about this. So here, so we're checking this line, and now if he goes rook bd1, king c7, yeah. This also looks playable because the bishops are too good. We want to take on c4. Black has very good compensation. And yeah, so this is about bishop b3. I think we have choice, but queen b2 is kind of interesting. Another option, queen d2, is also possible. Now we'll play for d5. And black is doing good. Yeah, this is just okay. Rook c8, preparing for the actions. This is okay. It's also okay. And this knight h4 important. Take. Okay, bishop d5, bishop f6. Looks like okay. If knight d5, we take here, and this is by force, leading to some equal endgame. Yeah, so this is okay. Also queen d2, but black is fine. Queen d1 is a bit too passive, I think, but also possible. Black is also good. a4, f5. So the critical is queen d3, castle and castle, and now a4 gaining more space. So now two options. I like d6. This is possible, but now white is a bit better, I think. I prefer somehow to play d6. There are many games of Demchenkov, Pechak, sorry, here, many games. So a5, queen c7. It's a little bit passive. I think a little bit worse, but not so much. Just a bit passive. But with right plan, black can equalize. For example, bishop e3. Yeah, this is critical line, but looks good. Yeah, now everything is protected here. Okay, this is worse. And all these lines, I mean, it's very difficult line, but leads to some kind of draw. Maybe a bit worse, but very close to be equal. d5 is coming. And okay, this is the main. Bishop d7, bishop e3. It's also logical, but we just want to escape from this 95 trade. This is the game Rager Pechak, German 2022. Now black should have played for this. This is okay. And this is, yeah, he couldn't take because f4 is hanging. And this is still okay, just easy draw. And this easy draw. And this also, I think black is quite okay. Very solid. And if he goes here, bishop d4, doesn't matter. Yeah, this is still the same. Yeah, so this was about queen c4, let's say bishop e3 now. This is possible, this is Krivoruchko Pechak, Germany 2024, but I prefer this move a little bit and to play like this. This is actually yeah, this is some games, but I think it's a bit better for white, but black is very solid and we have certain counterplay, so the position is still complex. But anyway, yeah, this is one of the interesting lines, knight c3 and d4. Now we're moving to the other main line, which is d4, also very critical. Now we take a6. Sorry, first here, queen 3. I think it's important to prevent bishop c5. For example, yeah, this is just equal here or here. It was very fine. Another option is queen d1, but also, yeah, this is good. I mean, black is just equalizing. So he needs to go queen e3, bishop e7, and knight c3. I think castle transpose is probably. So let's say he goes knight c3, castle and castle. Bishop d2 looks tempting to go for a long castle, but now this is extremely important. Now big complications. If here, black is just doing great. And if he takes the challenge and go long castle, we go c6. Okay, this is good. 3, and now here. Position is extremely complicated. Still, we should be accurate. This only move, this also. But black is doing okay here. Okay, this. And yeah, I mean, the bishops are giving black good compensation. So let's say castle, we go rook 8 important. This is a bit worse, giving the bishop is slightly worse. Another line is knight b4. Also queen d2 and black is still better. So rook 8 is important, knight d5. There are some other options. If rook d1, if knight d5, this is the idea. Yeah, here knight e7 already. Black is doing good. Yeah, black is doing very good here. Knight d5 important. Yeah, this is just better. Sorry about that. So take. So we were watching this line. Rook 8. So we were watching this knight d5. This we were watching. Maybe this not here. Yeah, before we were watching this line. Yeah, it seems that he needs to take like this, but black probably equalizes. This is also equal, and yeah, this should be a draw. I mean, we have a lot of activity. So instead of f4, white also could play king h1, and here it doesn't matter. If bishop d2, knight e7, very solid. I mean, this is just equal, bishop to b7. And this also, this is important, this is good. And this also is just very equal. Yeah, we want to keep this d5 idea in mind, and black is just equalizing. So, yeah. So let's see this main line, bishop d2 then. 97. Yeah, this was the line that we saw actually. Yeah. So instead of knight d5, he can also go f4. Now this is important, attacking the pawn. And black is suddenly doing very good. By force, this is okay. And this is also good. Another option here instead of rook d1 is bishop d2. Okay, now this is maybe different, but we go a6, I think, bishop d3. Yeah, if bishop c4, this is okay, creating some counterplay, and yeah, black has decent chances, it's just very complicated position. So another option is bishop e2, knight b4 and d5, this is good. And bishop d3 also, we go d6, this is maybe here, but we go d6, and now this is better, but this is very important, line bishop h4. We'll see this move again later. Yeah, so here just bishop e6 now. And black is kind of extremely solid. Another option is something like rook d1, but then knight e7. Still feels like equal. Should be okay. Another option is rook c1. Again, this. Black is just fine. I think managed to equalize. And yeah, this is just fine. So let's say the main move is here. And now again, this is very important because this is just better for white. But we have this very important improvement. Again, similar situation. We provoke g3. If g3, bishop f6. This is equal. This is also equal. And if bishop f1, this is the game robbers, Pechak, Pike, 23. Black equalized like this. He could play now even a5, it's interesting. Or even this, black is just completely equal. It's like Berlin, but very solid. So let's say he goes for the main bishop e2. We go here, here, and take. Maybe we can keep the tension, but we can take also. Looks very close to complete equality. It's like some Berlin. Yeah, how it was like this. I think here would be 8 was interesting, but yeah, it's okay. It's just equal, I think, bishop h6, b5, or a4, b6. And yeah, this is very important, bishop e5, because if bishop e7 is check, but we want to basically just provoke c3, because queen f6 maybe, and then bishop g7 and black is fine. So just to summarize a little bit, so this 97 line, uh, white had some options. So if c3, we go d5, this is important, black is okay. If knight c3 is very critical, now h4 is big complication, black is fine. d4 also, this is one of the critical lines probably, a little bit better maybe, but close to equal. And another option is d4 immediately. Yeah, black is doing okay in this line, but we need to know it. And what way else it was, knight c3 also, this was very interesting line also. Yeah. And castle was the other line also, just to go like this. So in general, I think 97 is playable. There are some lines that are a little bit passive, but on the other hand, yeah, white also needs to know what. And black is quite solid without much theory. Marshall, Berlin is much more. So I think black is doing more or less okay, not so bad. I think even good. So thank you guys for watching this lesson, this course, and see you in the next ones. Thank you.